Welcome to Gorilla's Friday Challenge Week 24 with Gorilla Test Papers. This weekly series is designed to help you master all key topics in the SEAG specification. This week we will look at the topic of all about lines. This is the first question of the week. The question asks, what is the name for a line that goes straight up and down? Pause the video now to try the question yourself. Alright, let's get into it. The learning point for this question is that a vertical line is a straight line that goes perfectly up and down. So first, let's remind ourselves of the different types of lines we need to know. There's vertical, which is a line that goes directly up and down, as shown on the screen now. There's horizontal, which is a line that goes straight across from left to right. There's parallel, which are lines that are always the same distance apart and never meet. Then there's perpendicular, which are lines that meet at a right angle. Now back to the question. Which type of line goes straight up and down? This matches the definition of a vertical line, so therefore the answer is vertical. This is the second question of the week. The question asks which line or lines shown below is horizontal. Pause the video now to try the question yourself. Alright, let's get into it. The learning point for this question is that a horizontal line is a straight line that runs from left to right. Now before we find the answer, let's quickly go over the four types of lines we need to know. So there's vertical, which goes straight up and down, horizontal, which goes straight across from left to right, parallel, which are lines that never meet and stay the same distance apart, and perpendicular, which are lines that meet or cross at a right angle. So now let's look at the lines shown on the screen. So we're looking for the one that runs directly from left to right, which is line C. This is the horizontal one. Line C is the answer for this question. Here's the next question of the week. The question asks, if two lines are always the same distance apart and never meet, what are they called? Pause the video now to try the question yourself. Alright, let's get into it. The learning point for this question is that parallel lines are lines that are always the same distance apart and never meet, no matter how far they extend. So first, let's go over the different types of lines we need to know. So there's vertical, which goes straight up and down, horizontal, which runs from left to right, parallel, which are lines that are always the same distance apart and never meet, as shown on the screen now, and perpendicular, which are lines that cross at a right angle. So we have to ask ourselves which type of line matches the description of always being the same distance apart and never meeting. The answer is parallel lines. This is the answer for this question. This is the fourth question of the week. The question asks which type of angle do perpendicular lines create? Pause the video now to try the question yourself. Alright, let's get into it. The learning point for this question is that perpendicular lines are two lines that meet or cross at a right angle. So first, let's review some important angle types. So we have acute angles, which are smaller than 90 degrees, right angles, which are exactly 90 degrees, and obtuse angles, which are greater than 90 degrees. Now let's take a look at the visual on the screen showing two lines meeting at a right angle. These are perpendicular lines. So which type of angle do these perpendicular lines create? It's a right angle. So therefore, the answer to this question is a right angle. Here's the last question of the week. The question asks, a line is perpendicular to a horizontal line. What is the name of this line? Pause the video now to try the question yourself. Alright, let's get into it. So finally, for the last time, let's remind ourselves of the different types of lines we need to know. So there's vertical, which goes straight up and down, horizontal, which runs from left to right, parallel, which are lines that are always the same distance apart and never meet, and there's perpendicular, which are lines that cross at right angles. Now let's remember that perpendicular lines meet or cross at a right angle. So if one line is horizontal, that means it runs from left to right. Then to create a right angle from this, the other line must run up and down, as shown on the screen now. So therefore, a line that runs straight up and down is called a vertical line. This is the answer for this question. Congratulations, you have now completed this week of Gorilla's Friday Challenge by Gorilla Test Papers. If you're looking for more SEAG materials, head over to our site at www.gorillatestpapers.co.uk for all the resources you need. Don't forget to like this video and let us know how you did in the comments. We'd love to hear your score and any thoughts you have about the series. See you next week for another session of Gorilla's Friday Challenge.